Oh, yeah. Feeling good, looking good, if you can only see us. It's another episode of Average Sports by your average guys, Eric and Ty. Eric, how you doing?
Doing good. There's a reason this is a podcast, not a vlog.
Yeah.
Everyone out there.
Absolutely. But we're happy to be back. Glad for you guys joining in. If you haven't listened to one of our shows before, we're going to just go through some average sports headlines, give you the kind of the rundown, what's happening in current sports. We're going to keep you updated, keep you in the know, and also not filter into what all other sports outlets are talking about right now, which is right now what we're not talking about.
The Antonio Clown Show. He's dominating headlines again for the third or fourth episode in a row. We're going to be passing on the Antonio Clown Show. So on to the next thing.
Yeah, no, it's too much. Okay.
So, yeah.
I do want to talk about some football, though.
What did you see the last week?
Boy, that last week, like the game of the week, Kansas City and Baltimore. That was a fun game.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. It was a little
super enjoyable.
By that, we were just watching some of the highlights, and at the 2-minute warning, basically, Baltimore got a touchdown to bring it within like 5 points. So it was a pretty exciting game. I think to me that was two clubs that were pretty well evenly matched. So I kind of hope they meet again later in the year, maybe postseason. That'd be fun.
Yeah, super great game because, you had Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, two new hot quarterbacks that everyone's pining over.
Mm-hmm.
That was a mixture
I'm pining.
and pining.
That touchdown actually we watched. That's why I looked it up. If you haven't seen any of the touchdowns that Baltimore scored in that game, it's worth watching because
100%.
Jackson,
it was fantastic.
He's got some moves. Kid can move. What else was going on? I'm a little surprised right now to see that the Bills are undefeated. 3-0.
Undefeated Buffalo Bills.
That's probably because of their schedule. Yeah. Good defense.
It's certainly a little bit to do with their schedule. They're not going to win this week. At least I don't anticipate them to, playing the New England Patriots. But that defense is really, really good. The offense is doing enough to get by at the point. So kind of a mix of both. But, congratulations to the Bills. They're off to a good start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even the Colts, though, are kind of hanging in there at second place in the AFC South. I know we're only, the third week in. So, there's a lot of time to tell that, a lot can shake out. But I think it's good to see that they can win without Andrew Luck. So that's got to give a lot of people, I think, some promise.
I think there was a huge overreaction, and I think we've mentioned this before, but on another episode. But Jacoby Brissett's not a bad quarterback.
No.
He, a couple of years ago, he wasn't ready for the job, but he's been behind Andrew Luck for a couple years since the last time he was starting for the full season, and he's looking good, and he's getting the ball to T.Y. Hilton, and Marlon Mack is running more than any running back in football right now, so they are leaning on the running game as well too, and they look like a good club and could be in contention for a wild card spot.
And the defense is showing up for the 49ers out there on the West Coast with 96 points scored thus far, which is quite a bit more than the Los Angeles Rams. You kind of think right now the Rams are synonymous with high offense. Yeah. 77 points versus 96 for the 49ers. They're also undefeated. So kind of like seeing what's going on in the NFC West, because we weren't sure how Seattle's going to show up. The Cardinals are doing exactly what we thought. Not as bad as Miami, shade better,
no
but
one's as bad
they're
as
still
Miami.
not winning. No, not even close. But how about that NFC North? And I think we can move on then from this. That's a winning division right now.
NFC North looks really good out of the gate.
Yeah.
Lions are surprising.
Sure.
The Bears look, as advertised defensively. I think Matt Nagy is trying to get too cute with that Cordell Patterson bull crap in the backfield. What are you doing, man? Get out of the way. What are you doing? You got David Montgomery, you got Tariq Cohen, and you have Mike Davis, and then you stick Cordell Patterson in the back. What are you doing?
Write him a letter.
An insane person.
Tweet at him.
Oh my God, he's an insane person.
Sounds like it. All right, well, that's some catching up on the NFL from weeks 1 to 3, seeing some rankings there, and just kind of our own impressions. We'll talk about some matchups that are coming up, though, at the end of the episode that are worth watching. And right now, how about some NCAA football?
Yeah, there were some really good games.
You caught some good stuff.
I put two out there. Mm-hmm. Number 3, Georgia. Tops number 7, Notre Dame. It was a fun game to watch. Georgia really controlled most of the game, and Notre Dame fought back late in the fourth quarter. And they weren't able to pull it off. But the rhetoric or the narrative for the last couple of years has been that Notre Dame can't play against top-end teams, and it was looking that way. Now, they came back, but I would still not favor Notre Dame being able to play really, really good teams. I think they could maybe be in the game, but I don't think they're going to win those games. But Georgia beats number 7 Notre Dame. Another one was UCLA and Washington State combined for a total of 130 points in regulation.
That's a lot of points, Eric.
That is a lot of points. It was 67-63 UCLA.
Wow.
I hope you had the over.
Right. Yeah, that's a highly entertaining game where you're not punting the ball and just the ball finding its way into the end zone just about every 2 minutes.
100%. And then we had a great Thursday night football game for the first time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Eagles, Packers.
For the first time, I like that.
Great Thursday night football game this year.
Yeah. Where the Eagles finally handed the first loss to the Packers, which I have to say I made that pick. I know we didn't talk about that and make projections earlier on, but you knew Philly was going to have a chance against even a team like the Packers, who are successful right now, but they're not a bunch of scrubs. Philly, when they're healthy, is still going to be a tough team.
Philly, that's the problem. Is last week they looked really bad because they weren't healthy.
Right.
They had their 2 top wide receivers gone, and Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey. So of course they look bad.
Right. Okay. Into our topic of the episode, we're talking about the MLB playoff picture. It is finally fall, leaves are turning, and baseball is on. I like to see that.
Does anybody want to guess who made this show, Docket? Because it was clearly not me.
What's wrong with wanting to talk about baseball, Eric?
Nothing.
I love baseball.
I just like
it's a good time of year. All right? It's a good time of year. That's all I can say. You got pretty much all 4 major sports, including MLS is still happening right now. It's just a good time to be involved in sports. So we're going to talk about who's in for the playoff picture. As at the time of recording this, there are still a couple, I think really just one position. It's the wild card matchup and the divisional matchup of
in the National League. We'll get to
the
it.
Central. So we'll talk about that probably last. Maybe let's touch on that. But I'm just going to go through the AL and just point out the teams that have won their division and then go into the wild card. You have the Yankees, of course, taking over the East. They just dominated with 103 wins all season long. Minnesota out of the Central, so successful year with them getting 100 wins. And I think, is this the first time that this has happened in MLB, or just like one of 3 times where all 3 divisional winners were 100-plus winning teams? Houston took over the West. Yeah, I think I saw some kind of stat over that. We'd have to look that up. But it's pretty remarkable, though, to see how top-heavy that whole league was this year, with 105 wins going to Houston and 55 losses. It's pretty outstanding.
That may be just another call-out to a previous episode that we had in Season 1, I believe, or maybe early start of Season 2, about the tanking in baseball. Do you think that the top heaviness has to do with any of the teams tanking on purpose?
It's very possible. You're looking at teams like Kansas City and Detroit. You have hardly a combined 100 wins there between those 2 teams. And clubs like Baltimore still didn't even get to 60 wins. So you see some real basement dwellers and a large disparity in the wins. So I don't know. It's a good point. Something worth
maybe another episode.
Another time.
But, when you brought that up, it jogged my memory about that.
No doubt. Yeah. For your wildcard winners, though, you have Tampa Bay and Oakland. Right now, they are even on their rankings, so that might be a little bit of a shakeup on who they get paired against. And not sure on their season matchup.
Well, that's not going to matter. It's just going to be who plays at home.
Gotcha.
They're going to play each other.
Oh, of course, the 1-game playoff. Yeah, good point.
And then the winner
we're still doing
will play Houston.
Yep. With being the most winningest team at 105 and 55. So some good baseball, though, to come out of that. I think any of those matchups, that Oakland-Tampa Bay game will be fun to watch for sure. And then whoever wins that one out to go on to Houston, I think it's going to be a really, explosive kind of playoff series, including with the Yankees, though, and the Twins. The Twins have just been on a tear lately. They're ending the season with a 5-game win streak and 8-2 in their last 10 games, with just 2 games left to play. So that's, you're coming off with some hotness heading into the playoffs. So
Yeah.
you're feeling confident that you can take down the Yankees. Now, Eric, what's the NL look like?
NL should not be a surprise, at least to the number one seed there is. We've been talking about them quite a bit when we bring up baseball.
Another 100 plus.
Another 100. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's 4 total in the 100-plus mark, and 3 are in the American League. And then just 1 is over in the National League. That is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Los Angeles Dodgers.
Is that a character you're working on?
It's a character. It's improv. They won the West quite handily, 104-56. They are also finishing with a 5-game win streak and 8-2 in their last 10. Atlanta 97-63, and then one of the wild card spots that is finalized in the wild card is going to be Washington at 91-69. Now, the one that is still up in the air is going to be the Central. It's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. Magic number for the Cardinals is 1, I believe, because they are still a game and a half ahead of the Brewers. Maybe 2 games? I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and look at that.
I believe it's 2 games right now.
Yeah, so in any matchup of anything that happens, they are they're one game back. 1 game back. So the magic number is still 1 for the Cardinals. So as long as they win, they are going to be just fine, because I think they do take the tiebreaker over the Brewers this year. But the Cardinals are currently sitting in the central spot, set up to play Atlanta at 90-70. And the Brewers are a game behind at 89-71, slated in that wild card spot to play Washington. So now that we got the picture for kind of what's going on in the possible matchups, the only one that, again, that's not said is St. Louis and Milwaukee. Ty, what do you got coming out of the American League?
Oh, the
Where's
American.
your head at? Yeah. But let's jump back there. Where's your head at?
I am not wavering from where our initial projections went back in the spring. I think the Yankees are showing up to the World Series for sure. I think it still will be a tough matchup against Minnesota. Again, talking about just how they're charging into the playoffs. But I believe the offense is just going to be, there's just too big of bats up there, and their pitching's going well. And as long as they can hang on into
their top starter for the domestic violence, he's done.
Oh, that's a good call, Eric. But I think still offense wins out on this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's always going to come down to bullpen, talk about that. But I think they can still hang on there. And there's a point to losing one player. You can attribute that to the Brewers right now. That is a Yelich-less Milwaukee team that
I said
is
they were
just
completely done, and
everyone thought
nothing but the opposite. They've
been doing nothing but win.
10.
Yeah, so
they're really good.
Yes, right now they are just winning, and it's because of the pitching showing up, keeping them in games, and so you just need to knock in a few runs, and you're moving on.
Yeah. Well,
so I feel like the Yankees are going to do more than that. They are setting. This is another record-setting year for home runs. They are just going to knock the snot out of the ball all day long, and they're just going to tear through. Now, when they meet maybe Houston, I feel like that is a team that very well will move through the divisional series. But I kind of want to give a mix up there. I feel like they might just lose out in the first series.
Zero chance.
Zero chance?
Zero chance.
Zero chance. I'm going to give it to Tampa Bay then.
They went Tampa Bay. And they picked up Zach Greinke at the trade deadline. That offense is one of the best we have seen. It's also the highest run differential in the American League at plus 274. They haven't scored as many runs as the Yankees, but their defense is substantially better than the Yankees. They've only given up 632 to a little bit less than 100 runs more for the Yankees at 724. The defense is better. Their pitching is better than the Yankees. The Houston Astros win the American League. I don't think it's close.
Yeah, that's your World Series show up, though.
It is. I'm not wavering off of that.
Yeah,
when they added Zach Greinke, there was zero reason for me to move off of that.
Well, if history has taught us anything, at least with hockey, Tampa Bay was bounced that first round. They were swept. They were the best team in hockey. So anything goes. You still got to show up and play.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so the NL. Who do we like? I'm staying still with the Braves. They've been quietly, they quietly won their division with 97 wins and just doing their thing. Because I believe the Braves can be that team that can show up and be a contender against a team like the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good offense. They're a good team. They have done a pretty good job of their pitching and bullpen, especially at the trade deadline for the bullpen. I still like the Dodgers, though. They've scored more runs than any other team in the National League. They have allowed the least amount of runs of any team in the National League by a lot that's in the playoffs. And that's